Hi everyone, it's Eliana and I have a card to share with you today. I'm going to be using some stamps from the new release from Avery, Elle. Jamie was kind enough to send me the entire release, and so I'm excited to show you a card that I've prepared. I'm taking the biggest bird from the Toucan party and I'm just going to stamp it and one of the other little images on some COPIC Express It paper. I've cut it down so that I'm able to stamp on all four corners with the little cluster and then stamp my little bird in the middle. The reason why I'm doing extra little clusters of the flowers is because in case I mess up the coloring, I have extra to color in. I'm stamping it with some Lawn Fawn jet black ink. It is COPIC friendly. And the COPIC Express paper makes it really easy to blend the colors together, and so it really helps me out since I don't have much experience with COPIC coloring. I'm taking my 3 shades of green and I'm using YG13, YG25, and YG17 to color in my green leaves. I'm not doing a lot of shading, I'm just kind of adding some dimension to the leaves with the 3 colors. So first I start with my lightest color and then I will add some shading with the middle color, and then I'll go back and add a little bit more with the dark, and then I'll blend them all together with the lightest color again. So it's really not that hard. There's not much to these leaves, and so there's not a lot of room to mess up. So now for the flower, I'm going to be using 3 shades in the R family. I'm using R20 as my lightest color, and I'm coloring the whole image in with that. And then once I have the entire flower colored in, then I'll go in with R22, and I'm just going to flick out from the middle of the flower out towards the tip of the petal. And then I'll take my darkest color, which is R24. It's called Prawn, which I just think it's kind of weird that they named the color after shrimp. So I'm just going to flick again towards the outside, and I'm just using very little of this color. And then I'll go in and I'll blend everything together with the lightest color. Now for the beak of the toucan, I'm starting off with Y08, and then I'll go to YR15, and then for the very tip of the beak, I'm going to go with the R17. And I'm only using 1 shade of each color, and then I'm going to wait until the alcohol on the paper dries, and then I'll go back and I'll add some shading. So if you just wait for it to dry, you can add some dimension by using the exact same color. For the body of the bird, I'm starting off with W4, and I'm just going to color in the entire part of the bird that should be the darkest, which I guess basically I'm just not coloring the belly. And then I'm going to go ahead and add the W6, and I'm leaving part of it not colored. That will be the highlight of where the bird is. And then I'll go in with the darkest one, which is W8. The reason why I didn't use black, it's because you lose the details of the stamp when you just color it solid. So this way you can get the feeling that it's black and it has just a little bit of sheen to it where the highlight is. And then I'll go back and I'll blend everything in with the lightest color, the W4. I'll do the same thing for the tails and for the wing. For the tail, I'm just going to flick a little bit of color across the tail feathers. And I did speed this up, so if you can imagine how slow I was actually going. So I did speed this up 2 times. I did do just a little bit of the bird at a time. I don't want the alcohol to dry, and that way it makes it a lot easier to blend the colors if the ink is still wet. At the end of the video, I end up, actually at the end of the card, I end up darkening up the bird just a little bit because I thought it was too gray, so I add more color when I'm all done. Now for the belly, I'm just going to start at the very back of the bird, and I'm going to use a W2. I know that the belly is supposed to be white, but I didn't want it to be a stark white, and so I'm using E50, and I'm blending it in with the W2. So I'm just kind of flicking them towards each other, and where they meet, they'll just blend on their own. And once all the coloring is done, I'll go back to my MISTI and I will add some VersaFine Onyx black ink so that I can emboss it. So I did use my anti-static tool just to get rid of the oils from my fingers and to make sure that it was completely dry. And I'm just going to ink it up with the black ink. And then I will add some clear embossing powder, and it just really makes the images kind of pop. It's my favorite technique to do on the MISTI. I'm just going to heat set it, and then I end up fussy cutting. I didn't have the dies at the time. I do have the dies now, but I did fussy cut them, and I just left a little bit of a white space on the edge. For the sentiment, I'm going to use banner bits, and I'm just going to go with the Onyx black ink to start because I'm just going to emboss it right away. For the sentiment, I am using one from Toucan Party, and I have a piece of acetate on my MISTI. The stamp will stick to the acetate, so I'm able to kind of curve the sentiment so that it fits perfect in the banner. So I did add clear embossing powder to this and heat set it with my heat gun, and I also fussy cut around it, and I did fussy cut exactly on the line just for the design of the card. And I'm just taking my Memento black marker and I'm going around the edges. It really cleans it up and it makes it look like it was a die cut that came that way. So for my background, I'm just taking a green card base, and I'm going to use the other elements from the stamp set to create a background. I'm going to use Gina K Grass Green ink. I wanted it to be kind of a little bit muted, and so I'm just positioning the stamps in the MISTI, and I am using the original size. I did make multiples, and so I just left the stamps in there and I stamped several backgrounds. I then took my acetate sheet and I set it on top of my card base so that I could move around my stamps without having to clean it in between, and that made it move just a little bit faster. Once my background was all done, I just kind of felt like it still needed a little bit more, and so I took a VersaFine marker and I went through and I colored only the leaves. The Versa marker is has watermark ink in it, and so it just darkens up whatever you color on. So it just made the green a little bit deeper, and so I thought it added a little bit of dimension to the background. And because I'm not doing any shading, it just made coloring a little bit faster. Now I'm taking a little piece of cardstock and I am going to try to make a sunset. So I have my little circle die so I know how big to make this, and I'm just using some Distress Oxides to blend a background together. I'm using Fired Brick, Candied Apple, Fossilized Amber, and Spiced Marmalade, and I'm just using a finger dauber and going around in a circle in order to create a sunset. And now that I've got it cut out, I just went back and blended it a little bit better. And now I'm going to take all of my pieces that I have cut out, and I'm just going to try to assemble my card. And I kind of think that the sunset is a little too bold, and so I'm just going to take some vellum and I'm going to do the exact same thing and just kind of create a lighter piece. So I'm going to compare to see what I like better. So that's the vellum and that's the cardstock, and they both have the same colors on it. And I can't decide which one I like better, and so I just decide to stack them on top of each other, and I actually liked that the best. So I've now assembled my card. I did add some Lucy Abrams jewels in the ice cube mix, and I am all done. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Be sure to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. Have a great day.